Today I will show you, dude. Oh, actually, I got to tell you, dude. What's the best way to win the duel? When rely on a lock. It basically means, and the best way to do it is A, research it, B, testing, and C, well, I don't order it, and C, just testing, research, testing, and also try new things out, to the those ones, try new things out, and what I mean by testing, what I mean by I go with test heads. Like for example, if you're using just say this deck, for example, if it's the handed versus that way, you can always put it in the side, and then you can and then make it a lot easier. Let me I'll show you one. But if I have 5 cards, see you see here, see I got 5 cards. And say if these 2 playing cards are based on hand traps. So for example, when you do whack it, you put it in, and then I put it in a small pile, and you do it again. And then I like this hand, twist. Well, you put it in another pile, twist, and you keep going until you have until you have so it basically means, and then you do when you done all that with 2 different piles, and then say I don't like it just play with his hand. You can always make changes to the you always make changes to that hand to make your hand better by changing it in one of those cards. Say for example, I have one this card in my hand, or whatever that would be. This applies to all decks. This applies to all decks really. I'm using this one as an example, just for example of it. So you can change this card and replace it with a different card in your hand before the tournament starts. That's the best way to test it. And also, and then you can do again by shoving it in the cards in your deck. Oops. Shove it in the cards in your deck. Investigate, and then do the no test hand. As well, also, also no open as well, but the extra deck as well, line on lock. If there was a particular monster that you can't beat with non-engine, well, it's the way out. You can use a monster that you can beat, but let me give you an example of one. Say for example, let's say Moonlight Attack Dancer, for example. Just for example, you can find a group of cards. What's one with the extra deck, and then you can somehow figure out a plan that allows you to get to multiple parties to get the Boar Sword. Say for example, Boar Sword. For example, for Moonlight Attack Dancer. For example, plan things out. Then you execute that plan, and then you figure out yourself, figure out to get the Boar Sword, and then kill the other dancers. That's one way you could do it, or you could also figure also have to think about whether you're going first or second as well, because the Boar Sword plan, for example, for the Boar Sword against Tiger Dancer. When I take a dancer one, that's the best you do going second, going that way. But if you, but what are you going first? So if you find a card that could be quite useful. Say for example, the Blaster Dragon, which is one right here. Basically, what this does, that's what I mean. Research, research, testing, and then see what work with. I do some research about this one, just for example of it. It could be millions of cards, different ways you could do it. You could be engine, or you could be not engine, or it could be the extra deck. It could be Anyway, for the Blaster Dragon, you can bash one card in one's extra deck, one card, and then or show cards to the deck, or monsters back to the deck. I like the one you could bash one card with it extra deck. So you stop your opponent something like a dancer with as an example of one. You can bash the with the order materials. You can't be summoned because without the materials to be used, you can't summon it to the field. So it makes it a lot easier doing that way. Also, you can actually do this twice in orchids. In orchids, if you want to, as an example of one to make it a lot easier. And to it. That's another also the best way to test it if you go online or you go in locals and to test it your feelings out. I get against other players as well. Because it does make it easier to test things, to test your theories of it as well. And that's a better way to test it as well. So I hope I do this video. Oh, also, comments down below if you find this video helpful. Because I thought this would be quite interesting topic. And to prove yourself, to improve, to get better in the game, which is that's definitely would be one of them. And also, you can say, also, another tip for you, to when the duels without block involved, is don't play cards involves a little bit of gambling when you're involved. Unless you are having fun, that's fine. That's completely fine. That's completely fine. For example, example of one is the Vampire Ward. But I mean, it can be, you can be unlucky, or you can be lucky with it. Or you could be unlucky, you could be, it depends on how your deck build. If you, for example, if we were going to give you an example of one, say you have Vampire Ward's effect, and you mill, not enough August monsters, I just use the August monsters as an example of it. Say, for example, if I mill, say, the say mill or get scattered or the or I use or mill the or get scattered or what would that be? That would be be quite good because then you can use it for going and all that. But if you mill a hand trap, then it can be unlucky as well. So that could be a problem there. But if you play less August monsters, then this one will be less effective if you do it that way. Because the more August monsters in your deck, the more easier this will comes more effective. If you play more monsters in your deck, that allows you to choose something that's up to the field. For example, I just usually do an example. Say for example. I used to do another example. I'll give you another example. For example, Yummy. Example Yummy, for example. If you use Papa to mill Yummy monster and you got them Yummy monster, then you use the full combo for you. But if you don't, that's the issue. That could be an issue because Because if you don't mill the yummy monster, then you don't get a full combo of it, which is also it can be an issue. That can be a factor of it. That's why you could try to avoid using these ones, or you could try to build a deck around that to make it easier to trigger to the that to make it easier on yourself. So, for example, if I have in this deck specifically, I have 80 August monsters in my deck, so the chances mirror August monsters is about quite high. But you can go even higher if you have more August monsters in your deck to go even higher. You have more chance of more chance of hitting those August monsters. It's the same thing that goes with the Tillmans or White ones in a way. It's basically almost the same thing. It's better to it. Also, what was it I could try unlock it in Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, if you build it, and also there's another tip for you. We'll build you the deck. You can go first and second, without using rock factor of it. Because there can be rock factor involved. For example, if you go to first game, that could be a luck factor of that, or it could be or depends on when they die well or not. That could be a luck factor. That's a luck factor there, but if you build the jacket, you can go first and second. Then you really don't mind you going first or second because you build the jacket, you could go both ways. So it makes that's also that's one way to get around that. Or if you're supposed to have 2 or 3 games, you can use a side deck. You can go first, and then use a side deck going first or going second to make it a lot easier. Back for example, if you use a side deck to use ball breakers, if you struggle going second, or if your deck is struggle going first, you use repetitive substance like count traps or storms or whatever like that. Any of those cards that will help going first, then you can help you out with that. It makes it a lot easier as well. Also, if you use the math calculation app, which is the Yugioh app, well, basically, it's an app you want you to do basically it gives you the sort of card a certain number of cards in your deck, but percentages of the chances that you open that card or not. So, for example, if I have 50 high tops, for example, that's the chances that opening those cards, any one of those cards, is about 85% to something like that. In that scenario to it and to it. So yeah, it's basically you use that one as well, or you can use maths as well. But maths can go with anything really. Like for example, if you use maths to calculate your odds to drawing that card or one of the workout styles in your deck to make it a lot easier. So that's luck involved. Also, there's another factor as well. And also did you also study the opponent's the opponent's deck? So the best way to do it is to study the top decks right in the moment. The top decks, which is the top decks, study them a little bit, and then figure out the choke points, all the key points, or the weak points of those decks, and take advantage of it. For example, the Wave Typhoon, for example, if you use the monster that wants to bounce twice, it's effectively one of my games. I play against Wave Typhoon. and I play the organs, and I use the organs cassette though to negate the better state the ones that the bounces to the one that bounces to, but the deck, which is the one because most of the cards in the deck it doesn't destroy it like that. So I wasn't willing to do that much to destroy my monsters because I know how to beat that deck. So it's very simple that way. Also, and so if I pass it that, I can have a clear advantage because I can get rid of his stuff and he card easily, not easily. You can get rid of my stuff, but not easily. You have to draw those cards and they are not engined to help me with that. So that also one of those reasons. Also, no example of one. If it's say for example, Yummy Yummy way type food, for example. Just really Yummy way type food, for example. Just for example. Most of the if you read the cards of the Yummy and the way type food, most of the cards target and destroy. Most of them, and most of the cards that do. So if you find a card that does not target, or you can be destroyed by card effects, you kind of go there because then it kind of get rid of it, but you kind of get rid of it if you get target or destroyed by card effects. I'll just give you an example of one. Let me give an example of one. For example, if you use the let me just find a good example of one. Just give me a second. Just give me a second of one. Just give me a sec. Give me a second here. There you go. If you use an Max and an IP combo, and then you can say this one to target it, and this one to structure it. If you put these together, then you actually have when I put it together, I make links of using the IP with a personal monster to make Abimax. So making it easier to beat the enemy type food, because most of the cards are destroy and the targets as well. But if you have covered both those faces, it makes it a lot easier to get rid of those cards. Or if you have a monster that's unaffected of post-card effects, that makes it cover a lot more bases than what's before to make it a lot easier. I'll give you an example of what when I take a dancer that does cover a lot of bases doing that. So yeah, then you make it a lot easier without using luck involved. But if you're doing that, make sure you go in first. Or you have a lot of extenders to keep going with to make it easier as well. Or you can do against the against Triggertail. Let me just give you another tip for you. When it gets against the Triggertail, research online and then find out those weaknesses. Find out weaknesses. The best weapons or websites I can think of, but then would be yugioh Wiki and also on YouTube as well. Because that also helps as well. That helps as well. The counter guides counter guides to counter the specific strategies. Like Dragon Tail, for example, one of the or whatever that would be. Or if you look at the yugioh Wiki, and it tells you the weaknesses. It actually tells you the weaknesses of the deck you're facing against, or whatever that. Just so you'll be more prepared to do doing that. So it makes it a lot easier actually. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you took a lot of notes on this video as well, and also comment down below if you like it, and also And also subscribe to my channel and enjoy you guys and subscribe more for my videos like this. And also comment down below comment down below any comments up below any want to know how to beat that 100% of the deck or something like that. I can always help with that as well. Or you have a deck or troubles like that as well. We're willing to help as well. So enjoy the rest of your day. This is your Pop Master sign up today. Bye.